Hello, Namaskar, welcome you to the SAAR Analysis. I am Chaman Naik and here's my take. What if the most dangerous phase of the war isn't just the battlefield but the moment when one side says it is ready to negotiate while simultaneously it is expanding its military footprint? Russia now has been the war in the Ukraine for more than 4 years. The conflict has claimed hundreds and thousands of military casualties, displaced millions of civilians, and fundamentally reshapes Europe's security architecture. Yet, this week, the Kremlin delivered two seemingly contradictory messages. Vladimir Putin opened to diplomacy, but Russia is also expanding what it calls a buffer zone inside Ukrainian territory. Well, this isn't just another battlefield update, it is a strategic signal that could redefine the future of Europe, NATO, and the global balance of power. Here's what evidence speaks about, and Kremlin says Moscow is still waiting to achieve its objective through diplomacy. At the same time, it insists that Ukraine's cross-border drone attacks and strikes on Russian infrastructure have made wider security buffer necessary. In strategic terms, this means Russia is attempting to improve its negotiating from a position before any meaningful peace talks begin. And the message is quite clear: negotiate from the strength, not from the compromise. At the same time, another critical development has emerged. According to the Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, China has once again warned Russian government that any consideration of the nuclear weapons, reinforcing Beijing's long-term standing opposition to nuclear escalation. That matters because China remains Russia's most important strategic and economic partner. Now the question arises, why is this important? Well, the modern wars are not fought only with the missiles and tanks, they are fought with territory, diplomacy, economic resilience, and international signaling. If Russia succeeds in expanding a buffer zone while remaining open to negotiation, Moscow could attempt to transform the temporary military gains into permanent geopolitical advantage. For Ukraine, that raises a difficult question over sovereignty. For NATO, it complicates the future security guarantee, and for Europe, it prolongs uncertainty over defense spending, energy security, and regional stability. And for globally, Beijing's reported opposition to nuclear escalation highlights another reality. Even the country maintaining close relation with Moscow appear to determine to prevent the conflict from crossing this nuclear threshold. That suggests that world's major powers may disagree on a war, but still they share an interest on avoiding this catastrophic escalation. Now here's my take. History shows that wars rarely end simply because leaders agree to talk. They end when the military realities, political calculation, and international pressure begin to pointing in the same direction. Russia's expanding buffer zone and its simultaneous openness to negotiation are not necessarily contradictory. They are the part of the same strategy, and that is maximum leverage before diplomacy begins. Whether that ultimately shortens the war or prolong it will depend not only on the Moscow and Kiev, but also the choices made in Washington, Brussels, Beijing, and other global capitals. Well, the real story is not whether Russia is talking about peace. The real story is what shape of peace each side is trying to create before the negotiation even start. Because in the modern geopolitics, borders are shaped on the battlefield, but they are legitimized at the negotiating table. And until those realities converge, the world should prepare not for the end of conflict, but for the next strategic phase. That's all from today's analysis. I will be back with another episode. Till then, thank you for watching this.